At the beginning of the film, we are shown a school couple who used to study together. Stillman was intelligent and Debbie was just as cute. Their love story is also cute as well. One day, Debbie calls Stillman to meet her because she wanted to talk to him. When they meet, Debbie tells Stillman that I don't want to live with you anymore and want to break up with you. Debbie says the same thing again, I don't want to have any relationship with you anymore. Debbie says the same thing for the third time. We discover that Stillman was doing all this repeatedly because he had a time machine device with the help of which he was doing all this again and again. So that Debbie changes her decision. Every time he was trying to make Debbie realize that the decision to break up is not right, but Debbie always tells something new and tries to end the relationship between them. After which we are shown the scene of the past, how Debbie and Stillman met. Stillman was a very intelligent student and Debbie was just fine in studies. He always wanted to tell Debbie what was in his heart, but he couldn't. Debbie used to do a part-time job in a cafe after her school. When Stillman goes to that cafe, his friend says that you should tell Debbie what is in your heart. He goes and talks to Debbie, and in this way they become friends, but gradually, this friendship turned into love. But after coming into this relationship, Stillman makes a lot of mistakes which cause a gap in their relationship. Debbie always ignored Stillman's mistakes, but when a year passes and nothing is right, Debbie decides to end the relationship with Stillman. Stillman was broken after this breakup, but then he gets an idea and thinks that if he goes back to that time and corrects his mistakes, then everything will be fine and Debbie will not leave him. For all this, he makes a time machine with the help of which he could go back to his past, but this machine could only take his mind to the past while his body will be present at this time. As we saw at the beginning of the story, Stillman was reversing the time repeatedly. It was part of this program. He tried very hard that Debbie should not end the relationship with him and break up with him, but every time, Debbie told him such things in which it was only his fault. In this way, he followed Debbie's time as much as he wanted, but the list of his mistakes was long. Now, Stillman comes back to the present again. He understood how many mistakes he had made, which could not be right, but now he decides to correct his mistakes. He does some programs on his machine, in which he could delete his mistakes. He puts all his memories in the computer and deletes them one by one. That's when his friend arrives, and he also found out about the invention of Stillman's time machine. He also asks him to go to his past. Now these two had gone to their past through the time machine. They reach the time when Stillman scolded Debbie's friends because they were making fun of his favorite movies. Because of it, Stillman was irritated and he had told them a lot of bad things. Now to fix this moment, they come to the past. Stillman's friend says, this time you do not scold Debbie's friends, but when the time comes, Stillman scolds his friends again. Stillman does not control himself, but this time he makes this loop again and starts making fun of his movies. In this way, this moment had become his happiness. This mistake was fixed by Stillman. Then he goes to fix his second mistake where Debbie wanted to sing, but Stillman had forbidden her, and because of this, Debbie becomes sad. This time, Stillman gives her permission and also praises her because of it. This time also turns into happiness with his sadness. Then, Stillman slowly fixes his mistakes and we see that Stillman's friend liked the girl and also made a lot of mistakes in life with her. To fix it, he had come with Stillman in his past, but he could not fix it. Because of this, Stillman is told to run this loop again. Stillman was trying to run the loop but could not run because his device was not working properly. Now because of the damage of that device, they both got stuck in the past. Stillman somehow fixes that device, but there was still an error in it. It will not be able to repeat the time loop again. That device cannot bring his time back again and again. It will have only one chance to fix her mistake. Now, Stillman goes to the time where everyone was dancing in a cult dress. Then, Debbie also told him that she wants to dance, but Stillman refused her. Because of this, they had a fight and it goes on for a long time, but this time, Stillman does not refuse her. He also dances with her. Stillman's sad moment also turned into happiness. On the other hand, Stillman's friend was happy with the girl he liked. He also fixed his mistakes. Now one day we see Stillman in a camp, and this was the day when Debbie broke up with Stillman, but now they do not break up because Stillman had fixed all his mistakes. He was happy now, and after fixing all the mistakes, he comes to the present. Now the time Stillman came, this was the time after 2 months of his and Debbie's breakup. Here, Stillman quickly calls Debbie so that he can find out if Debbie had left him or not. When Debbie talks to him on the phone, she was talking to him nicely. Stillman understands that Debbie is still with him and she did not leave him. Stillman was happy and goes to her house to meet Debbie. After which we see the scene after 2 years where Stillman and Debbie's life was going well. One day they go to the hotel to eat. Their life was good because Stillman did not let any mistakes happen. If it had happened, he would have apologized, but due to the absence of their fight, their relationship was getting boring because no relationship in the world works well. Doing fights and whim are part of the relationship, but now that their relationship was going well, Debbie was getting bored with Stillman. Here, Stillman also realized that he erased all his mistakes to make Debbie happy, and in a way, he was running Debbie's life in his own way. Now he decides that he will go to his past and finish that moment because of which they came close to each other. Then, Debbie will always be happy in her life. He was doing this because he wanted to see Debbie happy whether he was with him or not, but his friend forbids him to do so because his life was going well with Stillman's time machine. Now he didn't want Stillman to go back to that time and ruin everything. That's when Debbie comes there and also found out about this time machine. Now, Stillman was compelled to tell her everything and now tells her the whole story, how he tried to save his relationship through the time machine, stopped his breakup and fixed his mistakes. He also tells Debbie that because of the machine, he has changed many of his and Debbie's decisions. Hearing this, Debbie becomes sad. Hearing this, it seemed that Stillman was controlling her life. After telling everything, Stillman promises Debbie that he will fix everything and go away from Debbie's life. Later, Stillman and his friend start the time machine and reach the past, but after reaching there, his friend tries to stop him to change anything and keep going as it is, but now Stillman doesn't change his mind. He says that I will stay here and never go to my present. That's why he didn't even bring his device in the past, that he could stay here. Stillman was in his time when he met Debbie for the first time. They became friends by returning a book, but this time, Stillman goes away without talking about the book and doesn't even talk to Debbie. There we see the future Debbie, who realized that Stillman was doing everything for her happiness. She also reaches her past with the help of the time machine. At that time, she goes into the past Debbie's mind. She calls Stillman and asks him why he is not talking to her. Seeing this, Stillman understands that this is the future Debbie. They decide no matter if they have such big fights in their life, they will sit, talk to each other and will solve their problems, but they will not leave each other. Their relationship was absolutely fine now. So to save you such beautiful relationships, apologize for your mistakes and fix your fights while sitting. Don't get late, otherwise, you will have to make a time machine like Stillman. This is the happy ending of this story.